So it is day 1 of development on my own game. Basically, I want to make a third-person action shooting rhythm-based boss rush game. That's a lot of words, but hopefully it's a good combination of words. I think this will end up being a fun experience. Well, I don't know about fun. It'll be an experience. So the first step for me on this day 1 is to actually put together a prototype, or at least start putting together a prototype for the baseline game mechanics, and see if it's something that actually works and is fun. Hopefully, yeah, I'm hoping for the best there. I can't tell if that's a good angle or not. Because here's the thing about game development. There are so many great ideas. I think my idea is pretty great, but what matters is the execution. What matters is that I can actually put it on the screen and that it works, and that it's actually as fun on the screen as I think it is in my head. So I'm gonna get started on that. I just noticed there was dust in the lens. There's an uncomfortable close-up. So the way I want to do this rhythm system for my game is kind of a bit more complicated than most rhythm games I've seen. Generally, you know, people want to do things on the beat, so, you know, quarter notes or eighth notes. They want to put things on that timer. You know, you have something like, I don't know, Crypt of the Necrodancer, where you have a game action on the time. What I want to do is a little bit more complicated. See, I don't want to lock the player into a forced action on a given time. What I want to do is have basically free play, and the rhythm part factors in with the boss AI that you fight, because I want the boss basically to attack on not just the beat of the song, but on melodic hits and basically big upswings in the song. So it's going to be a little complicated to set that up, because I don't know if I can do that just from a math perspective. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure it out. And that's going to be kind of what I get to doing. So this is my first time using the Quartz subsystem in Unreal. It's actually super helpful. I've got it hooked up right now so that every beat of the song, it prints out a little string. Instead of printing out a string, I'm going to be changing the actual variable that I made in C++ in the boss class so that it can know that it can attack. It's a little complicated, but basically it's been hooked up to my song based on the beats per minute and all of the other time signature things, and I did write a little song. Okay, well, it is now day 2 of development. Day 1 was a little bit less productive in engine than I maybe wanted it to be. I'm going to need to figure out that rhythm system. I have ideas in mind, though, for how I'm going to solve it. I was looking through a bunch of different solutions. You know, I wanted to use the Quartz subsystem within Unreal, and I think I'm going to stick with that, but I did look through, you know, whether or not I should use Wwise or Fmod or, you know, these middleware solutions. So I think it's best to just stick with Quartz. I think I have a solution to what I want to do. So today is going to be spending hopefully all my time in engine and getting a lot more of a tangible result than just some hello print strings on top of baseline functionality. So hopefully I get a lot more done today. That's going to be the goal. Okay, so I've just finished coding my system for the rhythm for the boss. I think I'm the smartest person to ever walk the earth, but I don't know yet, because I don't know if it'll work when I hit compile. So at least you get to see my reaction when it doesn't work. So here we go. And 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, there might be some people who are smarter than me. It'll be an easy fix. It'll be an easy fix, for sure, for sure, for sure. Okay, so I just did a really quick fix. This time it'll work. I have faith it will work this time. Come on, smartest person in the world. It works. I'm a complete idiot. It's really embarrassing, and you know what? I will showcase my own embarrassment. You see this function call I did? Yeah, the reason it didn't compile is because I had it like this. So for the programmers out there, you know, I'm a moron, I'm a moron, I'm a moron, I'm a moron, my brain's melting, my brain's melting. Okay, so the way the system works is sick, and it actually, I'm very surprised it works. So I've got a class, I've got my boss class right there. Okay, I got my boss class right there. That's the rock column that spawns for now. That's just the placeholder model. Okay, the way it works is that I have the attacks being allowed to be used on the quarter notes and, you know, the obvious ones, but I also added a custom melody functionality to the base class that does math based on the BPM of the song and the chosen note. I'm a very happy person right now. I'm surprised. Well, to be fair, I don't know if it actually works yet. I haven't tested it. So, you know, I have to set that up. Okay, so it is darker than when I started this morning. It got a lot darker in here. Damn, hang on. There we go. Okay, but look at this. Look at this, dude. No, but seriously, this is incredible. Okay, hang on. Look at this. Okay, I have this screen over here, and I can choose whatever I want. I've got my different animation montages, and I can choose the notes, right? So look at the rhythm. Okay, we got this. Okay, look at this. One, ba-ba, one. You see that? I mean, it looks really stupid because they're not meant to be played that fast, but it is working correctly. But look at this. I can change that second one in the string. I can change that to a quarter note, and you could see, well, I mean, they're both playing very fast. It's just, hang on, I'll make them both half notes so it's a bit more pronounced. See, look, there. Okay, it's now day 3. It is now day 4 of development. It is now day 5 of development. Hello everybody, it is now day 20. As you can see, it is now nighttime outside because it is 12 in the morning. Basically, I'm, you know, compared to 2 weeks ago, which was about when I last recorded, I've been super focused on getting stuff done on the development end, and I'm pretty happy, honestly, with where things are at. I think that there's definitely a core of a game here that is super fun. Yeah, I'm starting to like it. I'm going to need to commission a character artist for sure for the various bosses in the game as well as the player character, but it's all workable. I think it's all workable, and I'm pretty excited so far to see how this goes in the future. The camera does not know where to focus. Oh, there I am. One of the things that I'm doing as I make this game is I'm experimenting with some of Unreal's new features to see where improvements can be made in the development processes that I would generally go with. One of those is the new gameplay camera system that they have in the new update of Unreal Engine, which allows me to really easily do cool stuff like this, where you've got a really dynamic camera angle for an ability that is not actually programmed in yet. But when you're using any kind of new tech, there's going to be some things that you don't know how to do, or maybe that isn't supported in the same kind of way. And so for me, I did run into that. When configuring third-person shooting for the game, generally it's a pretty simple process. So to make shooting in a third-person character game, generally what you'll do is you'll have your camera that's on a boom, it's behind, or not a literal camera boom, but it's on a figurative camera boom behind your character. Obviously that's the third person angle, and you want to be able to get the values from that camera, because what you are going to need is to be able to access the middle of that camera, which is where your crosshair is going to be. Obviously when you're making a game that has shooting in it, your crosshair is always going to be in the middle. There's some games that try to move it around, but that's always a terrible idea. In my opinion, you should never be moving around your crosshair. People want it in the middle. And so generally speaking, that's what you do. And so for third person shooting, you just want to get the forward vector of the camera and then get a result as to where that vector is hitting. We'll call that hit location. And then we also want to get the location where our bullet's gonna start. This is probably gonna be the muzzle of your gun, somewhere on the gun. Generally speaking, this is where your bullet's gonna start. So we'll have our hit location for the trace, as well as our start location for the bullet. From there, it's just simple vector math. You subtract one vector from the other, and then you get the resulting directional vector between the two. Generally speaking, that's where you angle your bullet. That's the very high level idea of how you would generally program a third-person shooter. Some go into a little bit more detail. Sometimes you can get a little bit of crazy functionality when you're next to a wall. I had to code in a couple of exceptions, but generally speaking, that's the overall overarching code structure. The problem with using the new gameplay camera system in Unreal is that you can't access the camera like you normally would, and that means you can't get the forward vector. So for me to be able to get that actual trace hit value, they actually have a custom trace node in their new camera editor, and you can use that with a new whole class system called, I believe it's like a node evaluator, and then you can get the result of that through an interface function I made back to the character, where it can determine where to shoot that bullet. It's a little bit complicated, but it's also a very good camera system in a lot of ways, in my opinion. So credits to Epic Games, this new camera system I think is very useful. Generally speaking, the old camera solution you'd have for a lot of custom camera movements in games is that you need to have an actual bone on the rig from Blender or Maya or wherever your 3D workspace is, and animate that in another piece of software, or at least bring it into Unreal and animate it with the things they have there. And then you would have to attach a camera to that socket and then make one for each animation. And so it doesn't allow for much customization while you're actually in Engine. This allows you to kind of skip that step a little bit and have a bit more control over what your camera does in Engine, which I think is really nice. So I've been doing all my editing and it's just about done, and I got to the end and I realized I forgot to record an outro. I don't want to drag this out too long. You guys know what an outro is. You get it. All I can say is, as per usual, if you enjoyed, subscribe, like the rest of you. You've heard a million times from a million other YouTubers. I don't need to repeat it again. But what I will say is this time I have a couple other socials you can go follow me on. I've never really said that before. So anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.